Hey everyone, Paul ISM. Welcome to the very first part of our next video build. Now this is technically my second entry into the American group build, although in reality it's the first. I've started a different kit, the Super B, but things are a bit wrong with the bare metal foil and I had to take it off and lost a bit of paint here and there. So I'm waiting for some more paint to arrive. But I have started that, I've got the footage for that, but obviously I can't continue. So looking for a new project at the MB45 of Luke's, I decided on the Corvette C6 road car, which I bought recently. So today we're going to prep it, we're going to prime it, we're going to paint it, we're going to give it a wash, put some decals down, and then 2K it. Usual procedure in the first part of the video. It's a nice kit this, it's a really nice simple kit, really nice clean body, and I think it's going to go together really well. So we'll start the video, have a look through the box very quickly, see what we got, and then crack on with the build. Hey everyone, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications, get notified of our latest videos, give the video a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and leave a comment. I do read and appreciate every comment you guys and girls leave behind. I may not reply to them all, but they are all appreciated. And there's a link in the description of the video that takes you to a big long list of all handy videos and a lot of the products I use in my videos. You now have the chance to support the video content creation by using Patreon or the PayPal me link in the description down below. All the videos always remain free to watch. This is just your chance to help support the videos. Right then, so I bought this kit off eBay. It's a little bit battered. It also doesn't help that the seller only posted it wrapped in a thin sliver of cardboard in a plastic bag, and it's got damage. But great box art on the front, some nice pictures of the kit on the side as well. A little bit of info. I think it's a good looking car this. It's a good looking Corvette. Typical Revell box though, side opening, they collapse as you can see. We've got our instructions there, which I'll have a look at in a minute. And the body shell. So you can have this as the targa, or you can put the roof on it. As you'll see in a bit, we test fit the roof. It's not the best, and I thought, you know what, for a change, let's do the targa top. That's the plan so far anyway. The body's really nice and clean, not a lot of mold lines to take care of. The glass is clean, pretty scratch free. A little bit of distortion, but overall for Revell, not that bad really. Certainly not on par with the likes of Tamiya and that, but it'll do. It's certainly not worth complaining about, and it does go on from the outside as well, which can be a bit problematic at times. So we will see how this goes later on. But overall, glass looks pretty good. Just having a good look at it. Can't see any flaws in it really. It's not the most optically clear. But overall, for Revell glass, like I say, it's not that bad at all. The glass for the lights and that is pretty similar quality. I'm not going to open the bag in case we mark it all. But overall, the glass looks good. And the rear light lens is already pre-molded in clear plastic, red plastic. Now, it has been partly assembled. They've done the transmission, some of the engine, and what have you, so we can deal with this later. It's not been glued together very well, to be honest, so I have to fix a few mistakes. Road tyres are in there, some nice tread on them. They look alright as well. I'm not going to open them up because we'll see them through the build. Cabin, cockpit tub, whatever you want to call it, is quite nice on this. We've got some engine detail built into the front as well. And the chassis itself as well, with the moulded in suspension as well, which we are going to adjust in a little bit. But overall, looks good. Nice simple kit. Should be a good mojo build of this, hopefully. And looking forward to building this one. As you can see, some of the parts have been cut off, but some of them are still on there. So gone through and made sure everything's there, which it is, thankfully. So looking good. And again, some parts cut off here, but the twin exhausts intact there as well. Dashboard, really nice dashboard on this. Nicely textured, nice detail on there. So that's going to look good once it's all painted. And then the targa top and the hood or bonnet, depending on where you're from in the world. As we see, it wasn't wrapped in its Revell bag, it was wrapped in a Ziploc bag. Wheels, nice rims these are. We're going to strip these. They're going to be silver. I'm not 100% sure which colour just yet. Thinking of sparkling silver from Tamiya, which is a really bright silver, or the stainless steel colour we did on the Cobra wheels we did a while back. I'm not sure yet, but these will be stripped, so we'll get them in bleach at some point. Then another bag of delights. We've got some more sprues and a few loose parts. Like I said, I've been through to make sure nothing's missing. I actually did think a few parts were missing, but thankfully they're not. Around here we've got the steering wheel, some suspension parts, auxiliary belts, anti-roll bar, some hoses and what have you. We've got the seat back there, we've got the accelerator pedal box, bottom of the sump, another anti-roll bar, the axle. It comes with metal exhaust tips as well on this, which I'll show in a little bit. We've got our disc brakes, bottom of the sump, subframes, radiator, the fan, the engine covers, bulkhead, so on and so forth. And the seats are really nicely textured on this. They're actually really good. So these are going to look nice detailed up. Obviously the seat backs, door cards, and the back of the trunk or boot. And then of course the axles, and as you can see, we got 4 metal chrome exhaust tips, which are actually quite a nice touch to get. So we're going to start off by just checking a few things. So if you look on the box art, it shows the car sat nicely on its rims with the wheels in its arches. I'll pop a picture up so you can see. That in reality is not how it works. I looked at the Revell instructions and shows a built model, and there's quite a bit of real estate space in between the wheel and the arches. So my plan is to lower it. So because suspension marks are molded on the chassis, I'm just eyeing it up to see how it's going to sit, and it's definitely going to sit quite high. So I'll just put a disc on, just double check, making sure that the chassis is in place correct. And my thought is we'll use our heat gun. We'll heat up the arm, like so. And then we'll bend it down, straighten up the hub. And that will do. So a little bit of heat, you can gently bend it without snapping. So bend it down and we'll push the hub in. We'll do it by eye to start with, and then we'll use our ruler and measure it perfectly. And yeah, it worked absolutely spot on. So I'll repeat that on all the suspension parts and get them all lower. And hopefully this should sit nice now, and it's, well, with the wheels either just in the arches or just about to sit in the arches. I'll be happy with either. Obviously it's trial and error at the minute, but just doing it by eye, measuring it, repeating if needed. Just be gentle with the heat, don't need to hold it on there, it will shrivel up, but overall pretty easy to do really. So with the body, we've got the bonnet off, the hood. I'm just test fitting this, nicely cleaned up. You can see the chassis, the cockpit interior underneath is in place, and you can see all the nice detail it adds to the engine bay. So this engine bay should look quite nice. Hood fits really well. Targa top, not so much. Glued in place with a bit of persuasion. I had to bend a few edges to get it to sit correctly. But while I was faffing around with this, I thought, you know what, it'd be nice to do a Targa top. I always tend to put the roof on things. I thought it'd be a nice change. So with that in mind, I thought I'd go through the instructions, do my usual trick of the highlighter, try and mark all the parts that need painted in body colour so we don't forget anything. Revell instructions, these older ones, aren't the best. They're an absolute pain. They're a bit busy with all the colours and number call-outs. And the colour call-outs are just dire. Revell needs to adopt a system like Tamiya. Just use the standard number for your paint rather than a letter depicting a different paint every time. I say put a question mark on the Targa top, just in case you change my mind. We're just going to go through and mark everything. We'll cut off the sprues holding the screen up, just clean up all the parts where they attached. Just quick go over the 240 thinny stick, and then we've got our 240 grey sponge, and we get rid of any seam lines. So as usual, they run from the back to the front. And I'm just looking for any rough parts, anything that needs sanding off. Revell kits aren't quite as polished as Tamiya, so you'll find quite often you may need to sand a few areas extra just to get them nice and smooth and even and clean. But on this, pretty nasty seam on this C-pillar at the back, and then a seam right across the top, right across the front, and down the front and back as well. To be honest, really quick cleanup on this, not really a major seam at all, just a very light seam. So just going over the various UMP sanders until it's gone. And like I say, it's a really clean body, really easy clean up, nothing too technical at all. If I see another one of these kits, I'll probably pick it up because this has been a nice build so far, and I'm hoping it's going to make a nice looking model once it's finished. So like I say, just go around, have a look, double check, go around, sand them off, then put it down, have another look, and I guarantee you'll more than likely spot somewhere you've missed. On the Revell kits, there can be a bit more than you see first time round. Like I say, it travels all on the back to the front. I'm not really applying any pressure, just going over it lightly, just removing the seam. And once you're happy, have a good look around, make sure it's all good. If you need to repeat it, repeat it. But you don't need to go heavy-handed here. And I would use a sponge rather than a stick, so you don't change any contours or reprofile anything. And just take your time. As I always say, patience is key here, although I do break my own rules sometimes. Once we're happy, we've got rid of all the seams. We've got our Tamiya 3000 sanding pad, and I'm going to go around and just buff and rough up all the body kit for paint. So I do every time. This will remove any other imperfections we've left behind. We'll also get rid of fingerprints, glue marks, and it's a step I always do. A lot of people still think it's an unnecessary step, but real car body painters do this, and they don't do it on plastic, they do it on metal. So whether the lacquer bites through or not, this is a step I'm always going to do. Also gives you a uniform surface to paint on because it's all sanded the same. There's no gloss or anything. And once you're done, you can come in there with your old toothbrush, is my Mickey Mouse one, and just give it a quick scrub around in all the panel lines to get rid of any sanding dust. Mirrors, tricky little mirrors these, quite a vicious seam on the bottom of these, so being a small part, they're quite difficult to hold, but again, just some careful sanding will get it off. But yeah, quite a nasty seam on these. Very easy parts to lose as well, so yeah, pay attention with the little parts. As you've seen, I use little plastic boxes, especially on the Revell kit, because the boxes are just dire. At least with Tamiya kits, with them being open in top and what have you, you can put parts in, safe in the knowledge that once the lid's on, they're not going to fall out. So just take care of a part like this so you don't lose them. And then mounting them, so my little black drill, we all know the story. If you don't, well, you have to guess. Little hole in there, little 0.5mm hole, cocktail stick, and there we go, there's the mirror securely mounted for painting. No problem at all. And then the body taped onto our Tamiya stand as usual, and just a quick go around with the toothbrush again to get rid of any dust that may be laying around. We'll also give it a blow with the airbrush before we paint, but it's a nice little step to take this. And then we've got some UMP cleaner on a clean piece of kitchen paper, and we'll go around, and this will get rid of any grease, fingerprints, anything that may interfere with your paint job. And again, it's a job done by real body shops. They will use a panel wipe or a tack cloth. For me, tack cloth's a bit OTT. I do have them, I used to use them, but this works just fine. The only thing you'll find is you might get a bit of static off doing this, so I would always recommend going over with the anti-static brush before you prime. So like I say, we're in primer. We've sped it up a little bit because we don't want to watch this, it's a bit boring. Mr. Surfacer 1500 black, thinned about 60-70% with Mr. Leveling Thinner. UMP Apex, 0.35 needle, 18 psi. I'm just going to go around, probably give this 3 coats of primer. So we're going around, it looks like it's going on really heavy, and I've spilled a whole load of it there. But it hasn't gone on really heavy at all, just building it up nice and slow. It does dry super fast. So go around, and then next time you come around, going up and down across the body, and then side to side on your final coat. 3 coats of this is normally fine. On a white body, tends to cover it fine. And there you go, there's an anti-static brush. And again, same on the hood, bonnet. Just a couple of light coats, building it up. Make sure we get underneath, because the edges of this are body colour underneath as well. And the mirrors. Be careful on smaller parts. It's very easy to overspray them or put a bit too much paint down, and it can cause absolute chaos and absolutely destroy your part. So take your time and just build those up nice and slow. After our 3rd coat now, well, this is our 3rd coat going down, and as you can see, we've got some nice coverage on the body, and I'm just carefully going around, making sure we've got all those little recesses painted and all the little areas. And of course, we need to make sure we do the windscreen, because the windscreen will be glossed as well. Although we're going to mask it and paint it in Mr. Surfacer black again later on, we're going to paint it as a whole. And there you go, as you can see, nicely primed bonnet as well. Mr. Surfacer becoming a firm favourite of mine. I do wish Tamiya would make a black primer, I really do. But obviously I think it's something that is not called out for, because I think they would have made it by now. But they've got the grey, the white, the pink and the red oxide so far. I think a yellow and a black would be a huge addition to their range. So maybe at a later point they may add them. But for now, we've got Mr. Surfacer. It does a good job. It absolutely stinks. It's one of the worst smelling paints, but it does a good job. Now, we've got our Gravity Ford Magnetic Grey. Now, I picked this because I like the colour. Had a look at the colour online. Had a look at a few Corvette in a dark grey, metallic grey. And look really good. So we've got a 0.35 Apex, 18 psi as usual. I'm just going to put down several light coats. Putting the metallic grey down on a black, it covers unbelievably fast. We didn't even use, we'll probably use about a quarter of the bottle on this, because the coverage is fantastic over black. Now, as we're seeing a little bit, the metallic flakes, which is a risk on model cars, are a little large. And my girlfriend Hannah walked in and said, "Oh, it looks glittery," and that's when I thought, uh-oh. But it is what it is. Like I say, we're committed to paint. This is going to be 2K'd in a bit, so we're fully committed. And it's still a nice colour, but in hindsight, it is quite a big metallic flake, but there's not much we can do. It really isn't. So a bit of a shame, but it's the risk of metallics. It's just the way it goes. I still love Gravity paints. Are phenomenal. They go down with no hassle at all. They're probably the least hot of the car automotive paints, and the one that's given me the least trouble over the years. The colour matches are absolutely fantastic, and they're just absolutely beautiful to spray. Wait until you see the Super B. The Super B is going to look absolutely banging. It's going to look absolutely beautiful when we get that one. So, yes, it's definitely something we'll look forward to seeing. So, with several coats down, we have a quick look. Obviously, we're painting all the other parts as well, the hood and the bonnet. Well, not the hood and the bonnet, the hood/bonnet we're doing. And like I say, make sure we get underneath as well, because although the centre of the bonnet does have a different colour, the edge is body coloured. And again, on the mirrors, very careful to overspray them, especially with hotter paints. Just take your time and, yeah, pop it down. So I reckon in total I put about 5 coats on this. I alternated up and down, side to side, just until I had nice coverage, and this covered absolutely beautiful. Like I say, only used about 1/4 of a bottle. Metallics over black cover really well, and just look at the depth of the colour. It's absolutely beautiful. It is the exact colour I wanted. Like I said, just a bit of a shame the flakes are a little bit big, but it is always a risk using metallics on model cars. Some of the actual Tamiya specific colours, the metallic flakes can be oversized, but it just is what it is. So going against every grain of advice I give, it's been about 2 hours and I'm putting the decals on. Well, I'm using lacquers over a lacquer primer. It will be dry, but my usual saying is leave it at least 12 hours before you do any of this, and that's what I'd recommend to anybody else. But me being me, once they get it done, pop them on. Now, there's only 2 to do, just 2 Corvette logos. Now, I would think Revell doing their own decals on the kit, that the logos will fit the raised emblem on the car, and they don't. The decals are a little bit smaller. Whether they're supposed to be like that, I don't know. But the decals went down absolutely beautiful. No problems at all. The Revell decals, Revell Germany decals, very rarely have a problem with them. They can be a little bit thin at times, but overall they tend to go down really well. So I popped it on, just giving it a second to sit. By the look of it, I'm talking to you lot in chat on the live show. But really easy to apply. They don't need a strong decal solution either. We'll just set these with normal. I'm just going to pop it down, remove all the moisture from underneath gently, like so. And then we'll apply some decal solution. Make sure it's straight. If it's not straight, you can still move it if you're gentle. And the back one as well. Just get it all lined up nice and straight. A little bit off camera, I do apologise. I have moved my camera lately. I've moved it back a bit. I think I need to move it back forward because when I zoom in, I'm a little bit out of shot. Like I say, decal solutions, UMP normal solution is more than enough for this. So that's exactly what we're going to use. And the same on the back. I'm just going to let it sit for a few minutes, well, not even minutes, a minute or so, wipe it off, repeat, and it's all good to go. Now, the Corvette does have side, I call them repeaters, side markers. And these need to be painted yellow on the front, or orange on the front, and red on the back. So I was going to mask this off, and I thought, you know what, I couldn't be bothered. So I hand painted these, and then masked off to spray the colours. So I should just masked it in the first place, sprayed the silver, and then sprayed the clear colours as well. But with a steady hand, and some silver Vallejo Model Air paint, it covered absolutely fantastic. No problems at all. With a nice Winsor & Newton fine brush. Went down absolutely perfect. Like so. Door handles as well. I thought, you know what, we'll do the door handles while we're here. They're in black. You're not really going to see them against the silvery metallic colour. But again, model colour black this time. A little bit of water in there. Fine brush and just very delicately painting the door handles. Model colour paint is absolutely beautiful to brush paint with. Definitely my go-to brush paint. I literally own 2 bottles of it, a black and a German grey for armour chipping. Did used to have the whole range, but never really used them, so got rid of them a while back, but they are fantastic paints. With some tricky masking now. Now, a little tip. You need to be very careful with cling film on decals. Cling film can rip off unsealed decals. So as you can see, I'm not wrapping the cling film around the back of the car. We're masking off to paint the windscreen and the panel in front of the windscreen. So we've masked it up with tape, which was quite fiddly to do. I didn't show it because it'd take forever to show. Do excuse my fingernails for anybody complains. It's primer because this is like, it's near enough the same day, I think it is. I certainly plough through this build. So be very careful of cling film on unsealed parts, decals, sorry. Just take your time. Don't put it on it because it might take your decals off. I've seen it done before. So we're using cling film to mask the majority of the body rather than wasting masking tape. I'm just eyeing it up, hit it with the little bit of masking tape on the edge, and then we could fold it underneath like so. And that saves on a ton of masking tape and a ton of wastage. So on the front, I cut a piece of clear plastic off all the bags, a little bit of masking tape, and we covered it like that. I've already checked it doesn't take it off. I put it on there, took it off. So that way we can then cling film over the front without any fear of ripping that decal off. So a tricky thing to mask, it really was a bit tricky. The front screen is black on the Corvette, so that's what we're going to do. It will be gloss black eventually, and we'll paint the sun visors separately later on. So mask it up. While we've got it masked up, we might also do these the side marker on the side of the car. So some Tamiya 1, 2 and 3 mil masking tape. I would just carefully mask it, going around them like so until the mask. Burnish down the edges into the recess, just so we know we've got it fully covered. Then we take it to the booth and give it a spray and some Tamiya clear, orange and red. I didn't show it, it was just a couple of coats, build it up nice and slow. It's probably 4 or 5 coats, nice and slow. Don't thin it too much because it doesn't like it. And just spray it on till you get nice even coverage. Over the silver, it should cover really well. And then again, take your time, take your masking tape off. The amount of times I put my fingers in the clear, like there, was unbelievable. I think I did about 4 times. So be very careful of masking it because it is still fresh there. So it's the evening now. It's about 5 hours later, and I've got some Tamiya black panel liner. I think it is. It might have been just after. I forget now. So this is neat out the bottle. Just going to use black as it'd be quite hard to see on the gunmetal. We're just going to apply it, let it capillary reaction through the panel lines, and let it dry. It takes about 20 minutes, half an hour to dry, depending on the temperature. Come in, wipe off the excess, and we're good to go. So we're going to get every panel line, every recess. We're going to do around those side lights that we did as well, and that'll tie them all in for any silver that we went over with before, and it just make it look a little bit neater. So it is a while later. Just remember because I let the side markers dry. So this must be in the evening now. This is last night, probably about 6 o'clock. And there we go. Capillary reaction carries this round. It works really well. Judge your colour on your car colour. So you don't want black on a white car or a yellow car because it looks too much. So I have a grey to mix it and dilute the colour a little bit. But all you got to do is touch it, let the capillary reaction carry it round. Biggest problem with this is it's not officially imported into the UK, probably down to Tamiya's labellings because they can fall short of some of our health and safety labellings over here. So you may have to look online and see what you can find if maybe the Far East or Europe. It's a real shame, but of all the colours you can get browns and all sorts. I think the black and the grey is all you need. Like I say, leave it to dry for 20 minutes, half an hour. And if you catch it quick, you can rub it off without putting any solutions on your cotton bud. If you need to, though, use an odourless mineral spirit like Winsor & Newton Sansador and just gently rub over until you've got rid of all the excess panel line wash. Once you've done that, put it down, leave it 5 minutes, pick it back up, and I guarantee you'll see somewhere you missed. I do it all the time. Usually, just as I'm putting the first coat of 2K down, I'll spot a little spot I've not done, and it's like, crap, too late. Nothing I can do now. Once you've got it all off, go around with a clean piece of kitchen paper and just lightly go over everywhere, moving the excess wash, and just take your time. Like I say, put it down, come back, and I bet you'll find some extra you've missed. I'll almost put money on it because I do it all the time. But the panel line wash, it's a thing not everybody likes to do. I think it adds a lot of depth. Like I say, don't go too stark a colour. Don't be putting black on white or yellow. Tone it down a bit. You just want to tone the harshness down so it doesn't look too odd. That's my advice, and that's what I tend to do. But black on the gunmetal will work perfect. And again, just a final rub down. Make sure we've got the excess off. Then this can sit overnight in the spray booth, which has all been prepped for tomorrow. So we've got clean paper, clean filter. We've got all the 2Ks out, all the cups are out, pipettes, my mask is all ready to go. And boom, there we go. Next day, early in the morning, about 8:30 this morning this was. I was getting out here early to get this done so I could go live. So see, dedication for you. So nice clean spray booth, all been wiped down. The room was hoovered the day before. I've got my window cracked a tiny amount. The boost's been running for about 5-10 minutes. I've got my wonderful Scott respirator. So I'm just screwing my filter on. Keep your filters in bags if you've got big filters like that, because they do absorb stuff from the atmosphere and just shorten their life. That goes for your respirators as well, your little ones. And we're trying something new today. We're going to try, well I think we are, because I can't figure out the markings on my brush, but I think we've got the 0.2mm needle in today. Now, with having different parts of the car, with this being quite an unusual shape, I thought, right, we'll mix a bit extra today. So I mixed 9mm of clear, 3mm of hardener, and 3mm of thinner. And it was way too much. I could have got away with the 6mm mix, but we know now. I think I got less down, or less wastage using a smaller needle nozzle. So it's a win-win all round. And I think we get a nice 2K job at the end. So I put 9mm of mix in of the clear. I put 3mm of the activator in now. This pipette we use to stir the mixture. Give it a good thorough stir. I've got my mask on. I've double gloved on that left hand. I've single gloved on the right. I've got a sleeve on the left hand. Because again, I should have one on the right really, but I haven't. We mix it up, throw that pipette away. We're never going to use that again. Fresh pipette for the thinner. And again, another 3mm. So it's a 3 to 1 to 1 mix. So if you've got 3mm of clear, 1mm of hardener or activator, and 1mm of clear. So we've got 9. So that means 3mm of hardener, 3mm of clear. And that's it. Put all the lids back on the bottles nice and tight. Put that out of the way. And give it a really good stir. When you put the thinner in, it will make it go a bit cloudy. Give it a really good mix. It'll go nice and clear again. And again, throw a pipette away. We'll never use that again. And I get a 190 micron paint strainer. I'm assured by Antonio Gravity I don't need to do this, but I just do it as a matter of habit. I'm just going to strain through all the clear. So any contaminants in there that I may have collected myself are gone. We've got my Tamiya anti-static brush. The car is taped to the stand again to make sure it's secure. And this way we should reduce our dust. Quite good today. We don't get much on this, which is really nice. And with the airbrush, just give it a blow over with air to make sure we get anything off it. Quick test spray. And we're going to pop a tack coat down first. So I think I've definitely got the 0.2mm in because the pattern's not as wide. And all we're going to do first of all is pop down a nice tack coat. This will dry within the 10 minutes we leave it to gas off. It'll dry really tacky, and when we come with our wet coat, it'll help reduce the risk of runs as well. So well worth doing. Take your time here. You're not putting a whole lot down. I've found over the years a thinner tack coat is more beneficial than a thicker one. I think it can make it a little bit too thick by the time you put your wet coats down. So just go around till you've got enough down to give it a semi-gloss matte look to it, if that makes sense. So it's not a full semi-gloss, but you can just see a difference in the paint. It gives it a bit more of a semi-gloss look than the matte look we've got off the Gravity paint itself. And just go around until you've covered everywhere. Don't forget we want a 2K everywhere. We've masked off and sprayed our windscreen and missed the surface as well. We did that earlier, so that's black. Obviously we've done our side lights as well. We want this whole car 2K'd. The only thing we don't want 2K in the end is the sun visors, so we'll paint those matte later on. But for now, some nice careful painting all the way round. And that's it. That's our tack coat. So that goes to one side. I'll cover that up with the top of my box just temporarily. Be careful putting anything on the top that you don't catch the top of the car. It's the worst thing you can do. It will undo all your hard work. And I'm going to speed this up now because we've got a good process to go through. You've all seen this before, so I'm going to speed up for us. So again, as usual, when doing the smaller parts, be aware of the amount of paint you're putting down. Very easy to put too much down, so just bear in mind the smaller the part, the less paint it's going to need. Like I say, once we've painted each one, we slot them underneath the cover and keep them dry. 10 minutes goes by, we're back with our second, well, this will be our first wet coat, second coat in total. So I'm not hosing it on here. We are using a smaller needle. It isn't covering as much as usual, but we're putting it down so we get a good semi-gloss shine there. And then again, work on the smaller parts, taking our time, don't go too crazy. And then we'll put it back away under the cover for another 10 minutes. Be careful taking things in and out of these. It's very easy to touch parts. Last coat now. Now, what I tend to do now, rather than hosing a full wet coat on, what I've been doing lately is just put another coat down like we just did. paying attention to all the areas, all the corners, the bottom of the sills, the wheel arches, just taking our time, building it up, going round, and then have a look, see how it looks. Maybe even put it down for another 5 minutes and come back and have a look. Let the 2K self-level. It's what it does best. It's how it works. And then come back. And if it needs a little bit more, you can add a little bit more. Sometimes you can stop now and have a good look and just think, does it need a bit more? And I'm looking at it thinking, there's a little bit of orange peel. That's not going to go. So we're going to put a little bit more down. Definitely putting a lot less 2K down than normal. The 0.2mm needle, I think, is working well. I think the result we've got at the end, I'll know when we polish it all up to see what it looks like. But I think we definitely use less 2K. I think it's not gone down as thick. So I think it's definitely beneficial doing it this way. And sadly, I need to give props to Alan Parker because it was him that recommended this. So thank you, Alan. As usual, it pains me to thank him. But obviously, you've got to give credit where credit's due. And again, on the small parts, we put that back under there for a minute just to let it settle, and then we just do these parts as well. Now, the bonnet is always a point of contention for me. It's always a bit of a pain. It can quite easily look a bit too thick. But if I'm honest, I'd rather put the 2K down a little bit thick because you can always sand it and flat it later on. So let's take it back out, have a quick look what we've got. How are we looking? And I would say we're looking pretty good there. We've got a nice 2K gloss. It's not too thick. It's leveling really well. There's no orange peel that I can see really at all. A little bit there. We just give it another light coat. As you can see, not a lot of this going down at all. Just have a look at the other side, and again, just a little bit more. This little bit extra can make all the difference and save you a lot of work in the polishing later on. Like I say, most of the time, without having runs or a ridiculous amount of 2K, I'd rather have it a little bit thicker so I've got a little bit more 2K to work with. I'm just putting a very fine coat over everywhere. And making sure it's all nice and even. And there we go. It's a beautiful colour, this. Like I said, the pigment's a little bit too big, but the colour is absolutely stunning. It's just the colour I wanted. And I think once you get some nice bright wheels on this and a nice bright interior, it's going to pop and look good. So there we go. That's that done. We can pop that back under to dry. We'll give the bonnet a very quick go over. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place it on my painted Paul ISM par holder. Painted Paul ISM par holder. We call it the so this is just an upturned storage box. I've drilled holes in the bottom, put some zip ties through, a couple of clips in just the right position to hold this. With the body taped on the turntable, you can literally swing this round upside down and the body won't fall off. The mirrors on the cocktail sticks fit into the side of the stand as well perfectly. And I'm just putting a 3M sticky pad down on the bottom here. And I'm going to stick this to it. So again, it doesn't fall off. As you see there, we've got a beautiful gloss. It's underneath the body. Don't worry, it's not that close. We've got a really nice gloss there. I'm very happy about this 2K. It's turned out well. And I'll put the lid on, click one side down. We'll leave one side clicked open. And just open a little touch to help it off gas. I do have vents in the side, but I do like to leave it open a little bit just to help it off gas. And about 2 hours later, this is what we've got left. So looks a bit thick in this picture. It's not actually this thick at all to the eye. I don't know what's up here, whether it's the light or the angle, but it's covered really well. You can see it better in the other pictures. So once this dries, we give it a good flat and a good polish. It's going to look really nice. So, like I said, colour is beautiful. The flakes are a little bit big, but I think overall it's a nice colour. The 2K has gone down absolutely beautiful. Once we polish this up, get those nice bright silver wheels on it. And I think I'm going to go for a light tan colour. I think my buddy Dan sent me a picture earlier. Rear wheel arch looks like there's something on it, and there's not. I've already checked. No idea what that is. But Dan sent me a picture of an interior before, and I love the colour, and I think that's what I'm going to go for. So there we go. Let's go back to me for some final thoughts. Okay, so that's turned out pretty well. I'm happy with that. As I said, the metallic flakes are a bit big on the paint. That is the risk of metallics with 24 scale cars. Sometimes the pigments can be rather large, and they are large on this. It still looks good. I'm happy with the colour. But in some lights, as Hannah kindly pointed out yesterday, it looks a bit like glitter. So it is what it is. It's painted now. It's 2K now. I hope the 2K will dull it down a bit. It's probably accentuated a little bit, to be honest. But it is what it is. It's still a nice colour. Happy with the 2K job. That's gone pretty well. Has the 0.2mm needle made a difference? I don't know, because I don't know I've got the 0.2mm needle in, because it's really hard to tell the difference. So we'll report back on that one at a later date. So yeah, so I'm hoping the paint will turn up for the Super V soon. I can get the first part of that out. If not, we'll crack on with part 2 of this, because I've got all the running gear and engine cut off, ready to prime. And that's what we'll do. We'll carry on with either one. And I hope to have another video out in a few days for you as well. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you built this kit before, it's a hard to find kit, this. Really hard to find in the UK. It's knocking on a little bit. And I did also buy that one, which is a scale production C6 race car with all the aftermarket in. Absolutely beautiful. Recently, and they're really hard to find. So I was glad to find this one at an okay price. Box was a bit battered, as you've seen, but the kit itself was absolutely spot on. So there we are. As always, like to support the channel. There's a Patreon me link, a PayPal me link, and a Buy Me a Coffee link as well. Don't forget, we also stream every morning, bar Fridays and Saturdays, over on my Paul ISM YouTube channel. Links are down below. And check out International Scale Model Facebook page and forum, umpretail.com, my Paul ISM modelling page, where you can see all my personal modelling work, Large Branch group, Off Air Hangout group, and the group build page as well. And as I say, don't forget to go and sub to my other channel, Paul ISM Live the Bench. All the links in the description down below, as well as a big long list of all the products I use in my videos. And of course, sub to the channel, give us a thumbs up, click that bell notification, and please leave a comment. Love reading all your comments and all your thoughts on the videos, and do appreciate everyone. Reply to them when I can, and if not, I give them a heart. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you very soon in another video. So bye-bye.